Hello, everyone. Welcome to the first ever Arsenal Trucks Galaxy podcast. I'm very excited. It's been something that I've been talking about doing in my head for a long time. I hope that you enjoy it. With me today, it's Ray from the Arsenal Fan Circle. Hello, Ray. How's it going today, pal?
Hi, Alonso. I'm excited to, have you be inspired by what I've been doing and add a branch to the Arsenal Fan Circle tree. So you're a new branch. Alonso, congratulations.
Thanks, pal. Yeah, I mean, I've not for short for people who don't know. First started out really doing podcasting with Ray and our friends on Twitter, now X, and it's been an honor being a podcast with you, Ray. And all these years I've been thinking about doing one, and kind of inspired me to do so. Very honored and very very thankful for your presence today. And we're going to talk about Arsenal today, obviously, and uh, yeah, and a little bit of NASCAR. Well, I told Ray that we would talk about Arsenal because they won pretty big today, 6-0, with goals by Saliba, Gabriel Magalhaes, Saka, Trossard, Saka again, and Declan Rice. And Ray, we talk about Declan Rice and how much he's meant to Arsenal already since his first season here. Very impressed by his celebration. Didn't want to allow a celebration like others had before when they go to different clubs. So yeah, it was very classy by him, obviously, and I think we're seeing at Arsenal a different team that they know what they're going to do. They have a game plan, and I think Arteta's kind of forced the guys to do even better every game, and we're seeing that in a constant level now, where you're seeing them dominate weaker sides, and sometimes they get caught out, but today was a total team effort, I thought.
Yeah, look, well, let's pick up on Declan Rice first. Being an Irishman, Alonso, I would have loved Declan Rice to declare for Ireland, but I understand why he didn't. He's got a better chance with England to win things, at least in football. When it comes to rugby, Ireland's a little bit better. We'll talk about it a little later, Alonso. But
Yeah.
Ireland for the Six Nations. But anyway, we're not here about rugby. Declan Rice, a huge servant to West Ham, and like you said, Alonso, class from the guy. Didn't make a hullabaloo. Didn't celebrate. The celebration police have no worries from Arsenal today. Liverpool fans out there, you can rest easy. We did not copy your trademark copyright celebration, Liverpool fans out there. But Declan Rice, it's no secret that I wanted him over Caicedo. This time last year, we were talking about it heavily. I could just see Declan Rice fitting into this team, and maybe Alonso has taken a few months for everything to work out with Havertz, and we'll get into all of the other parts of the team as well. But Declan Rice has added a lot to this Arsenal team, and he's got a big part to play in the fact that we have the best defensive record in the league now in the Premier League. So we added some goals today as well, Alonso, and really boosted our goal difference. So we're right up there with City now, and City have that game in hand, Alonso.
Yeah, with our friend Tony the Tiger, he always says that goal differential matters, and
Mhm.
right. I think we have a balanced team. Thanks, Tom. Hey, thanks, Tom, and thanks Russ for joining. By the way,
Yeah,
they're good friends of ours, and it's good to have people that will have your back and help you start a new podcast. So
big up Russ and
thank,
Tom in the
thanks,
chat.
Tom. Yeah, thanks for Tom and thanks for Russ. I do a wrestling podcast with Tom, and Russ has been also a friend of mine for some time now. So thank you guys for your support. Right. So, like I said, Ray, I think it's important about this Arsenal team is that we have balanced scoring. I think whenever we had two, now I believe world class center backs in Saliba and Gabriel Magalhaes, then they could also score goals as well. Uh, I think today was the type of team effort. Yeah, we scored goals, but defensively we were very very good. Jared Bowen always scares me,
Mhm.
um, and other players as well, like Caicedo, right? and you have Alvarado, who's a new player, and so is Kudus. So,
Kudos, yeah, exactly.
um,
Uh, but
but
yeah, listen, make no mistakes, Alonso. This West Ham team, if you're not at the races and you don't play well, they'll take advantage of you. And we've been on the wrong end of results with West Ham twice this season, going out of the Carabao Cup at 3-1. We just weren't at the races on that wet night in London. And at the Emirates, I think they're the only team in the league that have come to the Emirates, rocked up to the Emirates, and beaten us so far. So, this West Ham team, if you don't go about your business, and look, West Ham fans, I know you're disappointed about your team, but I actually feel, Alonso, the respect needs to be on Arsenal more, because Liverpool fans are saying, oh, we didn't play well. Maybe it's a little bit of that, but we definitely dominated Liverpool last weekend. And today, again, complete domination against West Ham. And how about Gabriel Magalhaes? He really liked the goal at the London stadium. He scored, I think, there 2 years ago. He scored there along with Rob Holding. So Gabriel Magalhaes and Saliba, the central defensive partnership that Liverpool wish they had.
Yeah, right. It's funny because, like I mentioned on the show, I believe, I feel bad now because Gabriel Magalhaes has turned it around. He's kind of taken my liking, I believe, because whenever you have a guy like Zinchenko, who we all talked about, is the missing link to me and defensively, and he goes forward a lot, so Gabriel's on an island all by himself. So you're seeing really what he could do defensively. We always knew that he had a head for goal. We're talking about the guy who scored his first goal was an Arsenal player on the first day of the season. All those years ago now. So, I was hard on him, yeah, because, I think those mistakes were all his fault. And I think that kind of was kind of unfair to him. That being said, I think he's improved a lot since those days. I think he's kind of known that, okay, I'm gonna be on an island by myself. I might as well defend, and that's what he's done. He's become a very good player now. So, but I want to talk about Bukayo Saka. We all know he gets beat up a lot. We all know he's a class player. We all know that we've been calling for Arteta for him to get a little bit more rest. How do you feel he did today? Granted, he missed 2 chances, but all in all, he had a pretty good game.
Yeah, look, he gets taken out in the 7th minute, and yeah, good. Big up the referee for being strong there and giving Alvarez a yellow card in his first challenge on Bukayo Saka. Listen, Alonso, the thing that Bukayo Saka, okay, he's short, he's not very tall, but you are going to get opportunities to head the ball, and he's missed a couple of those in consecutive games now. And maybe that's not his game, heading the ball, but we go back and forth on this about should we give him more rest. I think definitely we should give him more rest, because Arteta is going to create a situation for him of his own making, because the fans want Bukayo Saka to get a day or two off. Go shopping, go see a movie, do whatever you need to do. Bukayo Saka, you don't need to play today, and every player is going to get an injury, and when Saka does get that injury, we're creating a rod to beat Mikel Arteta on the back with Bukayo Saka. But I wondered, Alonso, I'll talk about the penalty second, but that first goal, the second goal he scored, where Odegaard feeds him in between the left centre back and the left back, and that's the kind of goal we want to see Bukayo Saka scoring more often, where he cuts inside onto his left foot and hits it into the corner. Keeper had no chance. But going to the penalty, it probably crossed your mind as well, Alonso, last season at the London Stadium. He missed a crucial penalty to
Yeah.
take us to 3-1. And it was in that middle of those 3 fixtures where we drew 3 games and we kind of stalled a little bit after going out of the blocks really quickly. Did it cross your mind, Alonso, that maybe Saka would not be taking the penalty? He'd pass it off to Odegaard, because probably they had that conversation, right, Saka and Odegaard.
Yeah, the good thing about Saka is that he'll miss some, but then he'll bounce right back and take one for his confidence.
Yes.
And I think all that stems, in my opinion, from the Euros that he missed the penalty against Italy.
Yep.
And I think he took that to heart. He took that very, very hard, as we all saw. So there's not like a feel good story with that. And I think, whenever you see him, it's either him or Odegaard taking a penalty spot kick. So, I had no issue with that because he can redeem himself. However, if it's late in the game and it's 90th minute, 96th minute, right, you kind of question if he should take that penalty kick. Some people say no, some people say yes, that he has confidence. But, you know, it's a question you have to ask yourself as a fan, right? Or is Odegaard prepared for that moment as well? So, it comes with the territory of becoming a spot taker, right? So,
Yeah.
you know, the right now I think Bukayo Saka has had the worst and the best of penalty kicks, in my
Mm.
opinion.
Yeah.
So he's not afraid to, I guess, fail in those moments because he'll get right back up and take another one. But I saw something different when he took that penalty kick rather, is that he aimed at the right instead of left like he always does, which was different.
Yeah.
Kind of risky, but different.
Yeah.
So, all in
Yeah.
all, I think he's I guess our main penalty PK taker now.
Yeah. Cash in mind to preseason, as you said, but Bukayo Saka would always place the left foot shot into the left corner on his side. Cash in mind to that Barcelona game. He actually tried the different technique in that preseason at SoFi Stadium,
Yeah.
and he pulled it way, way wide to the right, trying to, where you're trying to left foot hook it back into the right side. He's had a little bit more practice with it, and I think today we saw a perfectly executed left foot penalty into the right side of the goal. And as you said, Alonso, and rightly so, penalty kicks are becoming more and more an important part of the game. It's a
Mhm.
real advantage that you can take where you need to score that goal and separate yourself from the opposition, because that was the second goal. And if he doesn't score in that situation, it could be a momentum changer where
Mhm.
it swings back to West Ham. They get away with just being 1-0 down, maybe even go in at halftime, because as we know, the third and fourth goals would follow pretty quickly after that.
Yeah,
Huge mental aspect to penalty taking, though, Alonso.
yeah. And I remember, you know, it's weird because I believe it was against West Ham that Mavropanos scored against us, right? And it's like, typical Arsenal, player from an Arsenal player scores against us, right? So
Yeah.
that's always in the back of your mind that they could have a momentum swing and could not be in our favor. But I think we finished that, and I've never seen a first half like that in a long time by Arsenal.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think having Odegaard and Declan Rice rather have those assists is pretty remarkable because we all know what kind of playmaker Odegaard is, but having I've noticed how Declan Rice is now taking up corner kicks, and he's done a pretty good job of it
Yeah.
lately. So why do you change that? So I'm glad Arteta is trying to change the way corner kicks are being taken. I
Mm-hmm.
think he saw something in Martinelli that wasn't right with his corner kicks. And I'm impressed by Rice's ability to adapt on doing whatever the boss asks him to.
Yeah. He's Declan Rice, the kind of player who strikes me, Alonso, as a player who is never happy with the kind of player he is, and he always wants to look at ways to improve his game. And post-match comments in the Liverpool game, he was up there with Jorginho, and he's saying some nice things about Jorginho and trying to
Mm.
learn things from his game as well. Even though Jorginho is probably 6, 7, 8 years older than him. I thought at one point in this game, we hadn't gotten so many corner kicks up until the first goal, and my notes here are saying, did we have 7, 8, or 9 corner kicks before the goal? One of them had to start going in. The more corner kicks you're going to take, with Arsenal especially, a very good set piece team, probably the best in the league. Eventually, the corners are going to pay off, and we got one there.
Yeah, and I remember on Saliba's goal, we also had a free kick, and I think it was a little bit past the halfway line.
Yeah,
And you could tell they've worked on it a lot the past 3 years on how to connect those free kicks
and
and
the delivery.
and corner kicks. Yeah, yeah. And just seeing Saliba's goal was pretty good too for him and his confidence. He's got a head for goal as well. So
Mm-hmm.
the thing about we got two center backs that can score from free kicks and or penalty kick,
Believe
corner
me.
kicks.
Believe me, Alonso, I'm going to pick it on Liverpool fans today because, they're the ones who got on us about celebrating. But, we have the best central defensive partnership in the Premier League. No doubt, hands down. Saliba and Gabriel Magalhaes does not compare to Van Dijk and Konate, in my opinion. And what was I going to say? We've modified the way we play to be very good with set pieces, corner kicks, free kicks. So much so, us Arsenal fans were asking for more open play goals because that's who we were last season. And I feel like slowly now, Alonso, since the new year has turned, in these 4 games, we've got these 4 wins, 16 goals for, and only 2 against. And you could argue, Alonso, those 2 against should not have really happened. The one at Nottingham Forest was a defensive mix-up.
Oh yeah,
We threw one in our own net last weekend against Liverpool as well. Other than that, we'd have 4 clean sheets to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, just seeing Raya evolve into a goalkeeper that we want him to be, and you know, at first, I think every Arsenal fan is like, well, what are you doing here? We have a good enough keeper in Ramsdale come in, and it's funny how I think we talked about in your show, Ray, that the goalkeeper carousel. We had a quality goalkeeper in Brent Leno, and then we picked up Aaron Ramsdale, and Brent Leno was sent off to Fulham, and then we have now another goalkeeper mixed up with David Raya coming in from Brentford, and at first we were all optimistic. We were all kind of like shaking our heads, like, what is Arteta doing here? But we gotta trust the gaffer sometimes. He saw something obviously in Raya that he didn't really fancy in Ramsdale. So I like Ramsdale. I think that he gets it. I think that he is. I don't want to sound biased, but he's an English goalkeeper that he's on England squad. So he has that English grit to him. So it was quite puzzling why Arteta made such a move like that. But slowly but surely, we're still up there with Liverpool and City, and we haven't really told off much other than we lost. But
Yep.
this team isn't perfect. This team is going to lose some games. I think what Stan has said in your podcast, so you can't expect Arsenal to be perfect every weekend.
No, I mean, Alonso, I think Arsenal have not been perfect this season, but looking at Liverpool and City had a wobble earlier in the season. City drew 3 games in a row, and I think lost a game against us as well.
Yeah.
They lost against Wolves. So there has been occasions and weekends where City have faltered. It's a pity that we basically threw away 6 points over the New Year period against West Ham and Fulham. Horrible performances. And if I tell you now, Alonso, that we lost to Fulham away from home and we lost to West Ham at home on the back of our last 2 performances against Liverpool and West Ham, you would not believe me that happened.
No.
Liverpool too, they've drawn 6 games, I think it is. They've drawn a lot of games, and they're only accepting the defeat at the Emirates, but unfortunately they got screwed out of a win at White Hart Lane as well. But that's the facts. They've lost 2 games and drawn 6. So Liverpool have dropped a lot of points. Here we are with 14 games to go now, and Man City do have a game in hand. So we're basically 3 points behind City and 2 points behind Liverpool with 14 games to go. So it's game on, Alonso, but we have to keep winning games now because we have slipped up too much that we can't. There's not a lot of wiggle room left, you know.
Yeah, right. And I think also, there's some fans that, well, there's some fans amongst us in our group, in our circle, that I honestly thought that Arsenal would finish third, only because, this is the first time that Arteta has Champions League football as well. And we don't have a thin roster, but we have a roster that's kind of inexperienced when it comes to youngsters, and or players that don't play much. So, you know, my expectations are high, but are we okay if we didn't win the league because we're still growing? We don't have quite the players that Arteta wants, because of the budget and financial financial fair play. So we don't have that much bigger room because we bought Rice, we bought Raya on loan, and other players as
Havertz.
well. Havertz, right?
Although he's shown some qualities now, Havertz. I thought he was quiet today as well. You're dead right there, Alonso. Financial fair play now after 3 years, and we hear a lot about Arteta's had 600 million. Well, what has he done with 600 million? He's turned around a dressing room that was a bunch of bums in there. It was a bunch of bums in there, Alonso, and they needed getting out of the club. You know,
Yeah,
some of them wanted to treat it like a daycare clinic. You know what I mean?
recess.
Yeah. Recess is over. Okay, recess is over. The
Professor Arteta's
disciplinarian
in session.
is in the club. Mikel Arteta's come. And look, even some of our own fans don't like Mikel Arteta because
That's a
of
shame.
it is a
Yeah,
shame.
that's it. Because I think whenever granted, it was different circumstances, but he didn't win the FA Cup his first season, which is pretty remarkable.
Yep.
So he's done some good things, and I describe Arsenal as rising from the ashes, right? Because they were pretty bad there the first 2 seasons. But he brought them back to fifth place and then second last year. So different team, different environment, different same old city, same old Liverpool, competing for titles. But Ray, it's been a fairly good season for us. I don't know, I can't see a reason why people are so down on Arteta, or haven't bought in.
Yeah,
You know,
we've dropped a game or two here that we should have picked up. In my opinion, Havertz should have pulled the trigger a little bit more against Liverpool in the FA Cup. Take a shot or two. Liverpool stole that game from us. We could still be in the FA Cup now because they played a Norwich City that we would have progressed against. So it's unfortunate that the domestic cup of the FA Cup we're not in. And against West Ham, we did not turn up on the night. And you can complain about Arteta picking. I always go back and forth on this. Complain about Arteta picking a certain team that seems weaker. But Alonso, those players in the squad have to earn their oats. They have to go out there and prove that they're capable of performing for the badge. Right, that's right there on your shirt. You know what I mean? Play for the
yeah,
badge. Players like Nketiah coming on and Nelson have to perform in games like this as well.
and you see, Ray, that I think that's what's frustrating, and I think Gary is the main person who always brags about or always talks about them two in particular because they're on highway. Hey Sam,
I'm
how's it
Greenwood is in
going?
the house. So yeah, there's 2 or 3 of you in there. So throw in some questions, comments, and concerns about the podcasters, the host and the panel guest here.
Yeah, make sure you comment about these two bums. No, I'm just joking. No, but I mean,
Slags.
Slag is here. Where's your Pat Tate at, Sam? I was hoping he maybe gives a
Well, yeah,
point.
look. Mikel Arteta is doing a great job, and some people will say, "Oh, he won the FA Cup with players that were not his players." You still have to go. You still have to go and do it, Alonso. Frank Lampard couldn't do it. We did it. We did it
Good
with Mikel
Frank.
Arteta.
What does that guy Ryan say? Fat Frank.
Where is he now? You know what I mean? And we were in a situation a few years ago with those bums in the dressing room where we were competing for FA Cups. Now we have to step to that level, Alonso, where we have to compete with City on a regular. We did it last year. We competed with City right to the last 2 weeks of the season, threw it away in the end. And Liverpool, I think Liverpool are triggered because they're looking around. They're not the only team that's competing with City now. We could actually pip Liverpool to second. We could actually pip City to the title this season. Who knows? But we got to keep going. We got to keep winning in this fashion. And I'll tell you what, Alonso, 6-0. The league will have seen that. The teams in the league will have seen Arsenal, and they'll be talking about us tomorrow.
So, Tom, I prefer Italy because I like spaghetti.
All right, I'll go for Italy because I like spaghetti and Taylor Swift, I guess. So there you go. Mr. Sam Greenwood, Lauren Greenwood has subscribed to the channel, so thanks for that, Sam
Thanks,
Greenwood.
Sam. Appreciate you, Sam. Sam the slag. So when is Lord Greenwood going to make a guest appearance? Because next Sunday is Martin Krepak Jr. Day. So
that is the question. And, I think I'm not wanting to speak for Stan, but I think Stan and I might want to learn something about Martin Truex Jr. I know very little about. You just drive around in circles, Alonso.
right. So there's more than that. I think this year, Ray, there's a lot of changes with NASCAR with the cars. Toyota Camry's going with the new engine, I think, a new body. So they're going to be really, really good this year with JGR, Joe Gibbs Racing. Joe Gibbs Racing is actually the old coach for the Redskins,
So
which is kind of different.
What do you think if we would mix in some Formula One alongside the NASCAR chat?
So we're kind of it's yes, because I'm always able to adapt to new sports. So what channel can I find Formula One? Do you think?
I think Formula One. I think it's usually on ESPN
or Peacock?
Maybe it's on Peacock as well, but we'll have plenty of time to talk about that, Alonso.
Yeah, but I'm really excited. So on Thursday night, it's it's a shootout, which is kind of like it's like the precursor to the warm-ups, you would say, for Daytona 500.
On Thursday night, you probably won't be joining us on Thursday night forum.
Maybe before that, because I'll have the TV on the background on your show, just muted. But we'll talk about further about that on Thursday, because my goal is to talk about Arsenal and NASCAR, of course, but to talk about sports also, like what happened in sports and the week of, I know there's a lot happening, but we're going to try to condense it down. As you know, I'm a Flyers fan, Phillies, Sixers, Eagles.
There's lots there, huh?
Yeah, but we're going to try to do our best. I wanted it to be a show where we could discuss everything. But right now, like I was telling Tom, that I want to go by seasons, right? So right now, football season is about to end. Arsenal is still playing, and NASCAR starts on Sunday. So I wanted to go through seasons. I know baseball season is starting up in April. So I want this podcast to be about Arsenal and NASCAR, but sports is always welcomed.
Great.
So yeah, I'm really excited about my journey as a podcaster and having people on that are very good.
Have some fun with it. You know what I mean, Alonso? Have some fun. And I think you're doing great. You look, all the experience of being on podcasts with me is standing you in good stead right now. So you're doing well.
Yeah, but I'm looking forward to NASCAR. I'm just looking forward to see how Martin Truex Jr. does and his teammates, Danny Hamlin and Ty Gibbs and Christopher Bell. I know that Kevin Harvick retired last year, so he's going to be in booth with Mike Joy and Warrior. So it's going to be news to him. It'd be like if Lee Dixon were hosting the games.
Mm.
Kevin Harvick is won the championship in 2011, and
Yeah,
he's a very 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 smart guy. So it'd be interesting to see them in the booth, and looking forward to the season. Right, I'll tell you, this is.
nice.
I know. During your show, I'm watching NASCAR, so there's a little bit of a Sam Sam jokes in there with Martin CapEx, but it's like all good and fun. I think Hungarian tree climbing, Sam, is on ESPN Ultra.
So I have a question. I have a question to you, Alonzo. What is the strangest sport that you've ever watched or took an interest in?
So I watched a little bit of Winter Olympics, right?
Yeah,
And it's always fascinating about curling.
I think so too. Yeah,
I mean, for me, it's like it's a weird sport because you're sweeping a kind of object, right? But then you got to get into some kind of bullseye. So I'm like, get to go middle for that.
I had to be like people who their parents really told them they had to like sweep the floor. You know, you had to have some practice of sweeping the floor or polishing, wax
And
on, wax
you,
off.
yeah, it's like so nice. Oh my
Uh, yeah, I actually was watching something a week or two ago. It was like the Netherlands. They have like a thing where you put a pole in the water to jump over a piece of a river or something. They were actually using it as some kind of an improvised, you know, pole vault kind of thing for a distance. So
You
that
know,
was interesting.
I have to. So I have a friend of mine. He's a good friend of mine. He's a lieutenant here at the Woodlands Fire Department, and he's a big fun art fan. And we always talk about Holland, the Dutch team, and the team that won in '88, and the team that lost in the World Cup in 2010. And they've had some good teams, right? And the Dutch have, and just been so unlucky, or they've had some goals in late in games like the World Cup, and or they lost in penalty kicks. So I had to bring that up to him, what kind of sport that is.
Yeah, I remember '88. The Ireland team played the Dutch in the '88
um,
European Championships, and you'd have to go back and check out the goal. It was the weirdest. It was like a shot they hit off somebody, and it was so much spin on the ball that when it bounced in front of the keeper, it took the strangest spin, and it went in. It was one of those late goals as well.
oh,
Arsenal or Ireland were out of the competition. The Dutch always struck me as a team of individuals. You know, they have great creativity and great flair, but they never would put tournaments together. And my wife as a kid um, actually was playing football here with Johan Neeskens,
are you
which
serious?
yeah, she didn't know who he was at the time, but it was Johan Neeskens, and everyone, if you know about football, you know who Johan Neeskens is, and that's just like they're having a kick about in the backyard, but she didn't know who he was, you know.
Oh
So
man.
that's her
Jeez.
one of her claims to fame, you know. But yeah, that's the Netherlands for you. Sam said, I thought Ray was saying in the Netherlands they put a hole in the wall. That's Van Dyke. Van Dyke's hole in the wall of Liverpool's defense.
Oh my god. Yeah.
Dick Van Dyke.
So Ray, what time is your podcast today?
Yeah, so we are going live in about 2 hours from now.
Okay. Yeah, so I know, Ray. I hope that I know you're probably busy and all, but I hope that sometime you watch NASCAR, man. It's to me a fun sport. I don't care what Tony says. It's just more than enough turn, just more strategic than anything else. I think the issue with Martin Truex Jr. is that he had a lot of issues. If you watch on YouTube, and you'll see him and his crew chief arguing on the radio, and people think it's funny, but it's really just them being real. Um, it's interesting. But however, they didn't have good playoffs, and they finally had a good run in Phoenix. And it's like, go figure, right? Waiting to the last race of the season to do well, and then it didn't. And they had a lot of high hopes. However, I think it'd be a good season for them. There's a lot of changes, like I said. Michael Jordan is involved in NASCAR racing. He
Michael
has a
Jordan,
team. Yeah, yeah,
the Michael Jordan.
yeah. So he has
Wow.
two races, two cars rather. It's 45 and 23. And we were talking about it on Gary's show a little bit. Bubba Wallace is out there. He's getting better, and Tyler Reddick is also one of his drivers, and they're very young. They're very young, talented drivers. So it'll be interesting to
And
see how he comes about and how good
yeah,
he'll make it. So yeah, very 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 happy with Toyota.
I've
They're
been
doing
so Alonso, and maybe part of like maybe going on podcasts with you a little bit more. But I've been sort of watching. We all watched Drive to Survive on Netflix, and I
Mhm.
really enjoyed that. So a couple of other things came up. I watched on Netflix. Unchained is a Tour de France. It follows the Tour de France in a Drive to Survive kind of setting. So I really enjoyed that documentary about the Tour de France, and then Full Swing on the golfing tour. What was going on with the PGA and Live last season? I enjoyed Full Swing. Now there's also a NASCAR Netflix one that I'm going to get into as well. It'll give me a little bit of an insight into the things we'll be talking about as well. So that'll be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't watched it yet, but I'm off today, so maybe I'll watch it before Super Bowl or something like that. But yeah, I mean, it's very intense. The summertime's really hard on them because they wear suits to keep them warm and drink a lot of water, so it's important they stay hydrated as well. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward. There's some things I want to look after. There's some guys that are so there's always so in for example in football, right? You had the English Premier League, and then you have a championship. Well, same thing with NASCAR. The Cup Series is just NASCAR, right? So then after that, you have Xfinity Series, which is a step below, and there's been some drivers that are going to be moving up, as I say, and getting new cars into the Cup Series. So some of them are younger, some of them are in their 30s, trying to make a name for themselves. So I'm also watching for that as well, Ray, because Toyota, there's Jimmy Johnson, and he won seven championships, and he has a team with Kyle Petty, Richard Petty, and they call him the king because he was a great driver as well. So they teamed up to have their own team called Legacy Motor Club, and they are driving Toyota this year. So that's also something to watch out for as well. Changing cars is like Lewis Hamilton changing from who was it, Red Bull to Ferrari.
Ferrari, yeah.
So it's a change for them as well. So
Mercedes, go from Mercedes to Ferrari.
oh, okay, sorry, Mercedes to Ferrari. So yeah, I mean, hopefully Lewis Hamilton will do well with Ferrari next year. But he's a gunner, so I know a little bit about Lewis Hamilton and Max
Yeah.
Verstappen. Um, so yeah, I mean, hopefully I may get into the Formula One. It's a new sport for me, so I'm willing to try anything new. Just like I did rugby all those years ago.
Huh?
Rugby.
Yeah. So
Was,
you're following England in
I am.
rugby in the Six Nations.
I am. So they won. They barely won yesterday against the Welsh
Close
team. That
game.
was pretty
Yeah.
good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, there's
and they,
also when I was talking about documentaries, there's also the Six Nations on
yeah,
Netflix as well. That's a great documentary from last season.
yeah. So looking forward to how England. They have some injuries right now to some key players. I believe Farrell's out. I believe Smith's out as well. So yeah, I remember when Smith broke into the English side. He had a lot of potential. And he had a lot of potential during the World Cup as well. But unfortunately, he's out, as is the captain. So We'll see how it works out for them. They beat Italy, but Italy came back and made a game out of it. And Wales gave them a handful. So, they
Yeah.
both were scores that weren't satisfying. But
And
you know,
the thing, Alonso, if you watch that Six Nations on Netflix, it follows certain players, so it gives you a real insight into. And one of the English players that follows is Genge, so he's quite a personality as well.
mm,
Um, I forget his first name, but I'm sure somebody will tell me about that. Man United are leading against Aston Villa. Hoyland has scored,
wow.
and in the Six Nations, it's probably going to come down to England versus Ireland.
Yeah, I think didn't France win it 2 years ago or is it a year ago they won?
France won it 2 years ago, and Ireland
Okay,
were the,
that's right. They
Ireland were
won.
the team last year that did
They
it very.
both so they both won Grand Slams, right? In 2020 and 2023, right? Or
Um,
no?
uh, Ireland,
Yeah, won last year, Grand Slam,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Okay.
they won it last year, and it looks like it's going to come down to Ireland versus England at Twickenham on the 9th of March. In about a month from now, the tournament will be coming to a close.
Yeah,
The
I have friends.
Scotland, France game. Scotland were robbed yesterday. If you saw that, they
I
clearly.
was not, I was
They,
on Gary's podcast, so I was.
it was one of those where I extol I say good things about rugby in terms of the way they put VAR to shame, but the TMO um, was a little bit tricky, and that it was a big rock, and they couldn't actually 100% verify that the ball was grounded
Oh
by
gosh.
Scotland, so they didn't get to try at right at the end of the game that they probably deserved, and France get away with a win at Murrayfield.
I remember in 2022, how England gave the game away against Scotland because England gave away the penalties at the end, I believe, or caught up to them. England should have won that game against Scotland, but Scotland got lucky, I guess.
So yeah, I mean, it's gonna be. I can see it coming down, like I said, to Ireland versus England at Twickenham on the 9th of March, I think it is. Yeah, 9th of March. So that'll be a good game, and
So
interest.
I asked off for February 24th whenever England plays Scotland, and
Mhm.
that's a good game. I think that's a good match.
Yeah.
It's funny because my first experience watching the Six Nations was Scotland versus Ireland,
Mhm.
and that game was at 7 o'clock in the morning, and I saw it with friends. It was a long day.
That was a long
Yeah,
day.
it was a good day though. But and then next weekend it was St. Patrick's Day. So
Yeah. Yeah.
anyway, but yeah, Ray. I mean, back to Arsenal. Just seeing the evolution of Leandro Trossard is pretty impressive to me.
Yeah.
We got him last winter, and there was talk that we were in for Modric, and all things considered, wow, we got away with one. That's what people were saying, that Modric was the next big thing in Ukrainian football. He was close with
Mhm.
Zinchenko, all this other stuff. But no, this Ukrainian team wanted a lot of money for him. Well, we went out to the coast and got us Leandro Trossard for very cheap, too
Mhm.
cheap rather. We got him on the steal.
We did.
So his impact for this Arsenal squad has been dynamic, to say the least. I thought that every time he goes on a pitch, he is a threat. Scoring goals, giving assists, and today was a classic goal by him.
Yep.
Ray, talk to us about how much he's meant to this Arsenal team and what he's brought since he's been here.
Yeah. Look. I talk about a few players from other teams, especially in the Premier League, and I'd like them to be at Arsenal. Trossard was one that I was talking about for ages before I actually went and got him. A really, really good player. Um, and you're looking for players who they can see a pass. They have the ability to make the pass, and they can actually score some goals as well. These kind of players are kind of useful. Ones who can make a pass, see a pass, make a pass, score a goal. And I was trusting um, in the uh, in the fact that maybe the club was hot, was acquiring the right kind of player. So I was willing to get on the Mudrick train because Mikel Arteta and Edu had identified him as a player we could use. In hindsight, the fact that we didn't get Mudrick is no bad thing to me. And we went down to Brighton, as you said, and got Trossard for 1/4 of the fee it would have been for Mudrick. So he's definitely saved herself some money there. Came into the team in February and he had a great April last year with all of those assists. He was a king assist maker, and today he's becoming more and more part of Mikel Arteta's plans. I feel like Arteta's been a little bit shy about bringing him in over Martinelli. It's maybe as how Trossard that Martinelli has struggled in the first half of the season. Trossard's getting more and more game time, and he's actually producing on the field. I think the commentator said, Alonso, every 99 minutes. That's basically every game that Trossard is either scoring a goal or assisting in a goal. Nice to see Ray on with you. Have a great day. Thanks for being here,
Thanks,
Sam.
Sam. Means a lot, man. Take care, dude.
So I love I love Alonso and I love Trossard.
Thanks, Ray.
And they're Trossard. I love the fact that he got the goal as well. You just wanted him to come on and produce because you want to see him more and more in the team, and you want to see the time that Arteta's given him. You want to see him rewarding Arteta by the time given. Like I mentioned earlier, Alonso, those players who come on haven't been playing, and those players who get a chance, they need to grab that chance with both hands.
Yeah, and I really like, it's a shame that Eddie and Kedia doesn't really do a lot whenever he's on.
Mhm.
And when he's talking about Arsenal, when he's talking about extension, or whenever he was going to come back, I thought to myself, man, this guy has got a number that is very legendary at Arsenal. He's getting paid a lot of money to be on Arsenal. Man, you got to grab the opportunity, man, because like this opportunity doesn't come that often, and he hasn't. And that's just, I think, discouraging about watching him perform, watching him on the team. There was at some point during the season where he was on the starting 11 ahead of Jesus, and he didn't grasp it. And yeah, he's leading scorer of the U21s of all time. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But you were named to the England squad, man. He should have more incentive than that. He should be more motivated.
Yeah.
If he wants to, he could be on the England starting 11 if he wanted to, but he just doesn't want to do it, man. He has all the tools. I don't care what Gary says. I think he has all the tools. He's not motivated. And I think back to Aubameyang. He had all the tools, man. He just wasn't scoring goals, man. And to be a target man in this Premier League, you gotta score goals.
And what the thing with Aubameyang, he wasn't willing to put the hard work in. I
Right.
feel he wanted to be there waiting for the chances to come. And whether you like Mikel Arteta's attitude toward that or not, everybody's got to put the hard work in. And you see what it's like at the top level when you're at City and at Liverpool. The expectation is you have to win each and every game. Now, Liverpool fans and City fans are getting triggered right now because we have not arrived, Alonso. We are coming we're going to be there. We're going to join their party. And whether it happens this season or next season, it's going to happen as Arsenal increase the talent in the squad. We go get a striker, whether it be in the summer. Cast off some of those players who have not been performing. And the biggest thing Arsenal fans can complain about today is that Cedric came on the field, and it's a good day when that's the worst thing that can happen.
It's okay, Russ. Hey, man, thanks for stopping by, Russ. I appreciate it, man. See you soon, pal. See you
Yes.
Thursday.
Take care, Russ.
Tom, I like Eddie and Kedia. It's just hard, man, because you know he could strike the ball with the best of them. But I think Eddie and Kedia is a box in a box striker.
What is the best? So Tom says they don't put Eddie in the position to score. They don't give him the ball. What is the best way of playing? If you were to modify the way Arsenal played Alonso, just for Eddie and Kedia, how would you play? Would you play a counter-attacking game, where he gets one-on-one with the keeper more often? Or would you play, a more possession? Would you get to the byline and pull it back? What would you do for Eddie?
Well, like our friend Tony says, we should play three to the back. I'm joking. We should. I don't know. I remember we should play two forwards,
Okay, so
two
play
forwards.
two up top, and he'd be one of them, right?
Yeah, because to me, I in this system, to me, in my opinion, I think we depend too much on Bukayo Saka and Martinelli and Odegaard to make things happen.
Yeah.
And last year was Xhaka, and Kai Havertz isn't there yet. And I told this, I think it was your podcast, or maybe it was Gary's. I wouldn't mind seeing Martinelli up front more often.
Right.
He scored that goal against Liverpool down the middle, and I think he would do better. He would do better there up front. So in this current squad, I would put maybe Martinelli and then Kedia up front, and put Trezor and Saka on the wing, and put Rice and Odegaard in the middle, and back forward with the exception of Zinchenko Timber. I think that'd be good. I think that would be good work. And it worked before with Fabregas and no, it was Vieira and Silva, right? And it worked.
Yeah.
And
I think maybe to see the best of Eddie, we need to play faster. We need to have teams come on to us a little bit more. So we need to draw teams out so Eddie can get that space in behind and use some pace to get through and goal. Arsenal, the way we're playing is just not going to be the way Eddie wants us to play in terms of counterattacking, and that would probably be best for him, you know. So yeah, we talked about Saliba, Gabriel Magalhaes goal, the penalty for Bukayo Saka, ice cold from Bukayo Saka there. And now we talked about Trossard and the yeah, no problem. So yeah, Trossard definitely has stepped forward. You know what I mean? So the thing about today's win was, we've now won 4 games in a row. Beaten Palace 5-0, and I think we've gradually built up to this point of. It took a little bit to get the confidence back, right? We lost against West Ham, we lost against Fulham, we even lost against Liverpool in the FA Cup, a game they kind of stole from us in the end. So it took a little bit of confidence. Maybe going away for a couple of weeks in that warm weather training camp helped. We come back and we beat a very listless Crystal Palace team. In the end, we're winning 3-0. In the end, Martinelli gets 2 goals. They're very much training ground goals, but we beat Palace 5-0. And then I think the big result was going to Forest and that was a difficult game, right? We had to rely on Gabriel Jesus carving out a chance for himself and sticking the ball between the legs of Matt Turner. And then we had the breakaway where Bukayo Saka, and I think this is kind of a big result for us when we beat Forest, Alonso, where Bukayo Saka hit that right-footed shot to be 2-0 up, and that could safeguard us against making a mistake, which we've been prone to making a mistake. And, Saliba does some great things, but he was at fault for that goal. Then we beat Liverpool 3-1 last weekend, and now confidence is growing to where West Ham fans they're not happy with the team right now. They're not happy with David Moyes, but they're probably they're not going to do anything quick, right? They'll see out the season. They'll probably pick up again, and David Moyes will be safe. But for Liverpool or for Arsenal, we've beaten 4 teams. We've won 4 games now, and we've got 5 more games, Alonso, until we face City. And I think from the mistakes that we've made earlier in the season, the points we dropped earlier in the season, we're going to have to win each and every one of those 5 games, which is Burnley away from home, Brentford. I think we played Brentford, Newcastle, we play Sheffield United, we play Chelsea. And those are games that we need to win, all 5 of them, just to put a little bit of pressure on the City team, because we know what City does at this time of the year, Alonso.
Yeah, they're like a well-ruled machine. Because they get the Warner back, they got Holland back. So, it's always a tough test. They're just that good. But right, I think back to, what if, Pep Guardiola coaches a team like Fulham or Crystal Palace or Wolves?
Yeah.
And this is why I have a hard time telling myself, well, he's the greatest manager ever. But he's never coached a team like that, right?
Yeah.
So
he's always had the best of the best, right?
And with money as well. So, this is why I hope these sanctions, I say hope, because we all know they're going to beat them. I hope that they're harsh on City and, pay a price. However, what Pep has done with those teams is near perfection, and it showed last year when they won the Champions League that they're a great team, they're a great side, and they have great depth. And you're seeing weaknesses now that they have no quality backup for De Bruyne and or Holland, but still, however, they make things work, and that's what's scary.
Yeah.
And to break down a great City team, no matter if it has to or not, Arsenal did that. And say what you want, but that's hard to do, no matter if they're home or away. So you got to build on that, and also you got to depend on our depth, which is thin right now because of injuries and
people. You look at our subs bench today. We had Cedric, Walters, Bandera, El Neni, Jorginho, Nelson, Nwaneri, and Kedia alongside Ramsdale. So a few players on that team have not played very much this season, like El Neni and maybe Nelson. Nwaneri is new. Walters, really wanted Walters to start getting some minutes. And listen, I'm not going to complain too much, but I think we have to move forward with the Walters and not give Cedric a game or two here and there, because by the time Cedric's got to be moving on, that's one of those players that's got to move on. And what else is going on? So that's really the crux of it. We beat West Ham team.
Well, I think it kind of showed that this league, right, it's hard to do a double against a good Arsenal team, and I think that was also in the back of their mind that they didn't want to lose to a depleted West Ham team, because they too are in Europe as well. So they have good players on their team on their side, but I think we're just on a different level. especially whenever we beat Liverpool. You know, how embarrassing would that have been if we lost to West Ham? It'd be
yeah,
like, well, it'd be like starting all over again.
yeah. And look,
But but
Liverpool fans out there were very excited about the prospect of us dropping points against West Ham. Anything to beat Arsenal with. Look, they beat Liverpool, but they couldn't go and follow it up and beat West Ham. Well, we did that. We got 3 points. We got a clean sheet, and we scored 6 goals. What do you got to say about that now? You know what I mean?
yeah, and plus, like I said, I think people want to look at who's leading in goals right this season. But to me, what's most impressive is the ability to score from all sides of the pitch,
Yeah.
whether it be our forwards, whether it be midfields, whether it be our center backs, and even our fullbacks get a shot on goal here and there. So yeah, it was a team effort. Obviously, we got a clean sheet. Ryan wasn't bothered much. So he made some good saves as well. So these are the type of performances that we Arsenal fans want to see week in, week out.
Yeah.
Of course,
And
Gary does, right?
yeah, well, Gary wants to see us better each and every game. But this is so important leading up to City. I can't understate this. I can't state this enough. That these 5 games coming up to Man City are going to be very important. City have a few difficult games coming up before, in the middle of when they meet Arsenal, and that game at the Etihad, just after Good Friday, is going to loom large for us. You mentioned City. Yeah, they're a great team. Man City are a great team. But make no mistake, 115 charges against them. You can assemble a great team when you have unlimited resources to be able to pay Erling Haaland maybe close to $1 million every week. I think it's something like 900,000, 800,000 he's getting. Kevin De Bruyne the same. So they have played outside the rules for many, many years, and it's an embarrassment to the Premier League that they have allowed this to happen. If you punish Nottingham Forest and you punish Everton twice, as they're going to do with Everton twice, and they've only have a few charges against them, 115. That's going to send Man City into the Filipino 6th division. No disrespect to the Filipino 6th league.
No, you gotta do it better. The Antarctica 10th division.
Can you remind Mr. Tom, because he doesn't know what the number is?
115.
115.
So yeah, right. I mean, how much are Holland and De Bruyne on?
What's that?
How much are De Bruyne and Holland on per week?
De Bruyne, I think, is on 500,000, but Mr. Tom knows more than me about these things, so he could probably fact check me. And Holland is on, I think, 800, 900,000.
Good grief, are you serious, dude?
I think it's high.
Yeah.
BX Gunner has found us. Oh, if you didn't know
Yeah, that's awesome.
You guys better call somebody.
So I'm gonna have to find some mediators.
BX Gunner is your moderator. Make him a moderator right away. He's your guy. Hey, thank you, Jose, for
thanks.
Cleaning up what was going on Thursday night.
Boogie down.
Exactly.
As Gary says, boogie down, bro.
Cleaning up on the doorstep. Love it. Putting the trash out. Right?
So I really do appreciate support, man. It means a lot to me.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, Ray, but how did you feel doing your first podcast?
So I used to try to do pre-recorded things before, and I felt really, really nervous. And probably if you watch my first few live podcasts, you'd feel the same way as well. But
I knew it was a podcast, right?
Well, this is a live one, but it helps when you're comfortable with people you're talking to and the community that you have built. So I can't say enough good things about the community that comes in the Arsenal fan circle, and you're definitely part of it as well.
Yeah, I mean, to your credit, Ray, it's pretty remarkable the our circle has been. You know, we talk about we did this what during COVID. At least my experience was, and you're like, hey man, just tune in and watch our podcast. And I was like, back then I had a PS3, streaming it through YouTube and all that, and I was like, oh, this is pretty fun.
Yeah.
And you had me on, with some other guys as well. But yeah, I mean, it seemed like at first it was a challenge because again, that was my first ever podcast that was more than an hour long. um, so I believe it was um, I forgot his name already, but it was someone from the Brook Camp Wonderland podcast, and they had a supporters only
Yeah,
podcast where me and
Danny.
Andrew, yeah, Danny and me and Andrew were part of it. Um,
Nice.
so
And they did a little, yeah, yeah.
and then I was on his podcast for a podcast or two. Then I came on your podcast. So thank you for finding me, Ray.
Great.
Pretty
Well,
cool.
look, listen, I always try to find the right kind of people to complement your show. You know what I mean? And I think the people within our circle, but obviously you can add more to it as well, add more people in. Recently, we have Lawrence come join us as well on our
so
subscribe.
so how'd you find Lawrence? I feel bad because I didn't
So
introduce myself,
yeah,
but
so like Lawrence had been talking to Stan for a little bit, and Stan said, Lawrence would be interested in coming on for a show or more. I think Lawrence was thinking, once or twice, but you keep sending the invites out, and they keep coming. Kind of if you build it, Alonzo, they will
okay.
come. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so I mean, like I said, before, this was on my mind for a long time now. Um, and I just wanted to. It's always been my dream to talk about sports on a she's broader scale of just not talking about it on amongst friends, but
Yeah.
have my own podcast, but just be another branch on the Arsenal fan circle tree. Like what Gary started and what Tom and Tony started with the Full Nelson podcast, and hopefully we'll be some more. Ray. Hopefully we get Stan to start his own podcast as well. So I know he won't do it, but hopefully he'll be inspired by us eventually, and
Yeah.
never know. I mean, things can happen. I never thought I'd do my own, but
And look, it does when you do it. It does take a chunk of time
oh
out of
yeah.
your week, So thing I always said, and Matt before when he was with us, I always said to Matt, figure out how much hours you want to devote to this in your week, how much you can. You got to keep that balance between. For me, I try to keep that balance between family life and doing this as well, uh, and so I've carved out a couple of spots in the week to do it. Thursday night forum was always good for the Europa League immediately after, but
Yeah.
it's there. We're there now. We're in the Champions League, baby. It's Champions League territory now. The Thursday night forum is, and Sunday is for when the block of Premier League games finish up. And as I said to you, Alonso, sometimes it takes it eats into the Philadelphia Eagles and stuff like that. And of
Hmm.
course, we have Super Bowl on later today as well. So,
So who you going for today, Ray?
who am I going for today in the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
There are two teams I really don't like very much. But
Yeah. It's
the one team I hate more is the San Francisco 49ers. So I'm
yeah.
probably going to land on the Chiefs here.
Yeah, I really don't like either one of them, to be honest. But if I had
Shanahan.
chosen,
I don't like Shanahan.
you know, so
Uh,
like to me, I really like. I don't really like. I don't. I'm going for the Chiefs because it's Travis Kelsey, Jason's brother. I think that's pretty good. Pretty good podcast, and
yeah.
really a good guy. I like Mahomes. I think Mahomes. Cause they're listening about humbleness. I do not mind Taylor Swift. I think that it's good. It's good for sport. I think it's good for other reasons other than
I
football.
agree
But
with you. I agree with you. I see both sides of it because I think I've seen dads bond with daughters through watching football and having Taylor Swift be there at the games as well. So they've enjoyed that. Um, do I like the TV panning to Taylor Swift too much? Probably not. I think there's a good, happy balance to be had there. But I'll tell you what, Travis Kelsey, I'm not really a big fan of Travis Kelsey because he's always been a thorn in our side for the Eagles. But
Yeah,
he's a player who's kind of possessed, and he gets into that mindset of where he talks smack to other players, and you can see it on the field.
yeah. Well, all right, Ray. Well, I guess we're on the show now. Any last words for you?
No, look, I mean, I had to be here with you, Alonzo, on the first show. We'll see how it goes moving forward. Hopefully, you get more people coming in as well. But had to be here to support you because you're part of the family. You're part of the Arsenal fan circle family. So had to come in and support you.
Thanks,
Gary, Stan, Sam, other people can come in.
Tony. Yeah,
Tony, Tom can come in and join you from time to time as well. And let's get this thing going. I'm actually excited about as well, Alonso. You're going to be talking about some other things. Maybe we'll talk about the Flyers. We'll talk
yeah.
about Hungarian tree climbing or tree hugging, curling. All these
Curling,
other
yeah.
Aussie rules, Gaelic football, hurling,
Golf.
curling, hurling, bowling,
Formula One.
Formula
Shoot.
One, NASCAR,
Ice
and
dancing.
I think myself and Stan especially are going to learn a few more things about Martin Truex Jr. So
And also, we may talk about wrestling a little bit. I know Tom and Tony of the wrestling, as I do too, and Stan and
we're
Russ
gonna,
and
yeah,
the rest of
yeah,
us guys. So yeah, I mean, we're going to try to do our best, my best, to invite everyone who wants to join. I think it's important that we have all ethnicities involved, and
yeah,
yeah, we're a big family here at the Arsenal Fan Circle, and now Arsenal Trucks Galaxy podcast. So
right.
yeah, looking forward to doing this, man. But I'm hoping to put out a live show weekly. I don't know what day because of work, and it's
Yeah,
kind of a demanding job I do. But at the end of the day, it's about having fun, like you said, Ray, and
yeah.
ethnicities. Yeah, man. Sorry, man. I don't know if there's a proper word, but I'm gonna thank you, Ray, for being on. I know that you're a busy man and you got a podcast coming up. Where
Yeah.
can they find you, Ray?
Hey, find me over at Arsenal Fan Circle in about 60, 70 minutes from now. We're gonna talk a bit more detail about West Ham and some salty Liverpool fans. So I'll keep this going.
All right, I want to thank Russ for joining the podcast, Mr. Tom, Sam, B.at Skinner.
Yeah.
But that was it. Anyways, thank you guys. It's been a dream of mine to do this podcast, and look forward to doing some more of these things. You guys have a good day, and see you guys soon.
Take
See you
care,
next
everybody.
time. Bye.
Later.